Good evening and welcome to Coach World TV. My name is Terry Yoffe, and tonight as my guest I have Anette Rosenzweig. Hi, Annette.
Hi, Terry.
How are you?
Very good. Thank you
Great
for
having you.
having me.
Great having you. Annette is a member of the International Coach Federation, New York chapter, and is also an executive coach. So we sat and we talked about what we were going to discuss tonight on the show. And I said, the first question I'm going to ask you is, when did you know you wanted to be a coach? Because I don't think when we graduate college we decide to be coaches.
Right.
So we have, most people have another career or two or three before they say, aha, I think I'm going to go down this path of coaching.
So where did I start? I started out completely in a different realm. I was in academia. I was studying sociology, and ended up traveling around. Lived in France for a long time, and did a bachelor's degree in psychology in France. And coming to the U.S., I kind of had to decide on a new career, and I'd done a lot of social work, a lot of helping people, kind of listening work, and coaching just kind of came to me. I started thinking about it, and I can't remember like the moment that it actually happened, but when I thought about it, and I just knew this was the right thing for the rest of my life to be doing.
So how did you hear about coaching? Because you know, it's a relatively new field. I mean, you know, it's not 100 years old.
Right.
And I think you have to do a little digging before you even come to the corner where coaching actually resides.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know that I had my bachelor in psychology, and I had to decide whether I wanted to continue that. And then at that time, my kids were also going into college. I'm thinking, this is a little much long education, so I need to build and combine it with something. And coaching just seemed to be the right thing. And then I went to a coaching school that also was psychology based. So I went into something where I knew that was connected to what I've done before.
Okay. What type of coaching? I know you say you're an executive coach. You know, there's so many words for a coach. You can be a business coach, an executive coach, a life coach. But I think in the end, it's all about the individual.
I think it's about the individual, and I'm finding myself to be most interested these days with relationships. So it's a question of communication, and that can be on the executive level in businesses. But I also do coach couples, individuals in their relationships to others. And I'm finding more and more that that's where my strength is.
Did you take, because I know I did the organization relationship and systems coaching, which is about relationship coaching. Could be any type of relationship. Or did you just fall upon doing it? And
I think I just fall. I mean, I know about that training, and I know people that are working with it, and it is a training that I might think about adding. But it's always been. I'm always more interested in the social part, in the relationship, how people are connected, because that's where we seem to be most in pain and it's most difficult is when our relationships don't work. You know, whether it's in a job situation with your colleagues, or whether it's in your love life. So looking at yourself in relationship to others, I find that more interesting than just focusing on the individual.
So when you talk about relationship with others, whether it's in the business environment, whether it's with another person, do you work with more than one person? You work with the other individual as well? Or is it mostly one person?
I work with teams also. So I work with larger groups, and I really, really love working with groups. I love just working with coaching a larger group of people. Last year, I've done a bunch of different things, but last year, together with my partner at the Nordic Coach Group, we got together and put together a group of high-level executive women in New York, and we've been coaching them as a group, and there's 12 of them.
Okay.
And that's just been fantastic because all the knowledge that they can share with each other, they all have something in common, has been really fun, and that's something I'd love to continue doing.
Do you do that in person, or you do it by phone?
That's been in person.
Okay, so you get all 12 together at the same time?
Yeah. So we've done that every 2 months, so it's not very often. It's like 6-7 times a year, and then we've had some events in between. But these women don't have much time, right? But they have enough time to want to be together. We were surprised. This was a test because they are such high-level women that they really don't have time for many things. But coming together for them, they really appreciate it.
Do they work in the same company, or
no,
they're from?
No, they're all different. So they're like UN directors, Google.
How does that work when you get 12 executive women together and coach them, where it feels like they have to have almost the same mindset as to where they're going, or doesn't that matter at all?
Well, we have had we've used a theme, so we'd had a theme for each meeting. So we coached around a certain theme, and that has helped sort of move people together. But it's the forth and back. They're all very strong ladies, and they have strong opinions, and it's mostly a lot of fun because they're such high, strong individuals that sometimes we have to help out a little.
So they coach each other.
They have the option of commenting and coming in with comments as long as it's constructive and positive and that kind of stuff. So.
So do any of these high-level executive women challenge the others?
I think they would if we hadn't set the ground rules in the beginning, so we don't, there's no challenging, so it's a very respectful, non-judgmental environment, confidential, so there's no leakage of the information that's being brought to the table. But many of these women are solitary in their leadership roles and have a benefit from sharing a certain platform with others that are going through some of the same things.
Right. And they could learn from each other.
Yeah, and it could be sometimes we've had work balance. I mean, these are very simple coaching themes that we worked around.
Okay.
So.
Oh, that's interesting. That's great.
Yeah.
So one of the things is that Anette is moving back to her hometown of Copenhagen, Denmark.
I am.
In another couple of 2 months, two months.
Yeah.
We're very sorry to see her leave. So how is your coaching going to, what is it going to look like, or if it's going to be different as you, and we talked about this, kind of enter a new chapter in your life?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. It's for me, it's my third life kind of thing. That's how I feel. I just feel, and I feel very fortunate I had grandmothers who were working on farms and had lots of kids and had very hard lives, and I've had the opportunity to live in different places around the world, learn different languages, different cultures. I feel extremely privileged to be able to do what I've been doing, and now I get to go home also, which is also, I'm happy about that. So going back for the coaching, it's I'm going to be coaching myself partly because I think I'm going to go through some of the motions that many of my clients go through. It's transitioning.
What about having a coach?
That's a great.
The ICF has a peer reciprocal coaching program.
No,
which is very good, and I've been doing it.
Yeah.
Where you might want, sometimes coaching ourselves is not so easy, as you know.
No.
We can trick ourselves.
Absolutely.
With another ear.
Absolutely. And it's on my list of having a coach. I think that. I think I have to be a client for a little while. Somebody asked me the other day, said to me, he said, well, how are you going to go about this whole process of professionally transitioning? And I'm like, I don't know. The beginning is just have to be information, right? I have to go and learn. I haven't worked there for a while, so I need to talk to a lot of different people to even find out what's going on, what are my options, where can somebody use somebody like me, and how do I, and I do want to continue my coaching as is. I have clients here that I'll continue working with.
By phone?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the great thing about phones or Skype.
Yeah, and it's been, so I had one education, I worked with that field a little, and then I moved to another country, and then I moved to another country, and each time I had to remake myself, and that's the great thing this time, is I can bring my profession with me, and that's
absolutely.
That really, when I chose it, coaching, part of the choice for coaching was that I could do it anywhere.
Right, and that's one of the beauties of coaching.
Right.
If you, certainly I have clients in Europe and everywhere as well, and coaching by phone or Skype affords all of us the opportunity to not be tethered to having clients just in the area where you see them in person and that's it.
Right.
And I think that's fabulous. So, you know.
And I think also I'm going to go through that, all those, same things as my clients have gone through, like the fear of, it's not, I can't just hop, skip, and just do, it's going to take some time to transition back, and it's going to be interesting to watch myself a little differently. So,
so if you had to envision this new chapter, next chapter, whichever one it is,
right?
What do you see for yourself, if you could really just look at it?
That's a beautiful question, Terry. I see myself in a work environment where I have a lot of collaboration, where I work with other people, where I get to sort of bounce ideas off, forth and back. I get to use my creativity of coming up with new ideas of things. So yeah, the vision is really collaborative. And communications. I feel that as our society is getting more and more complicated and we're all more and more rushed, we need to take time to listen and talk. And I've listened all day long, and I've said this also earlier to somebody else. Sometimes I forget to listen to myself, and I forget to listen to people that are close to me. I listen to my clients, and
I know. Same thing.
It's like I need to slow down. So my vision is also for me to slow down a little more. To be more mindful of what's going on.
So you've been here in New York for 9 years. I think you told me.
Yeah.
What have you learned? What that you didn't learn in the other countries you were in? What did you learn that you know is going to be part of your toolkit going back to
another great question, Terry. Oh, these are great questions. These are great questions. What didn't I not? What I love about New York is the diversity. There's so many different people from everywhere. What I also learned, strangely enough, is that New York is very local. So people kind of, belong to the Upper West Side and don't go to Brooklyn. Or whatever it is. So that taught me that really anywhere in the world we love to be local and being in our little local tribes, in even like a big city like New York. So
it's true.
So that the communities, the importance of community, even in a big city like that, where people think maybe there aren't that many communities. I also, what I'm bringing with me is the openness in New York of people, like the help. People are incredibly helpful, I feel. You ask for help, that you will find somebody who can help you. Whereas Scandinavians may be a little more reticent in they're not as open and outgoing. So outgoing. If I kind of sort of made it in New York. If I could do it here, it's like I can do it
here. I make it anywhere.
I think so. I mean, that's how I felt when I came to New York the first time. I was 18 years old, and I was so scared, and I couldn't figure it out, and I barely spoke English. So, having come back forth a few times, and this time for 9 years, I feel very, very comfortable. I feel like I'm a New Yorker, and that's not going to go away, right?
How do you transport being in New York and a Copenhagen?
I don't know. I kind of can't because they're also very local. So if you tell them something about New York, they'll be like, "Oh yeah," you know. It's like talking about Denmark and New York. Nobody cares, but in Denmark, people really don't. I mean, they think it's nice and fantastic and all this other stuff, but they also very quickly become local. Right, so you can't run around talking too much about, you know,
New York.
No.
Did you pick up any New York accents? Or
I don't know. It's up to you to tell me. I don't think so. I don't think I did. Maybe a little. Maybe a little.
So, you know, there's an old saying: "You can't go home again."
Right.
Thomas Wolfe said.
Yes.
That. So. And here you are,
going
home again.
I am going home again, and I do know that I'm not going home to what was, because everything is everything is different. So I'm not expecting. There's something that my relationship to nature is going to be the same because it hasn't changed. So I can still, no matter where you are in Denmark, you have less than 50 minutes to the beach. Right, so you can go to I can go to the beach always. I grew up on the beach, and so I miss that. And I miss my parents. I can, I'm not going to go home to my parents, but I just miss spending more time with them.
Sidebar.
Yeah, no, it's going to be nice. And they're getting older, and I'll see more of my family. It's going to be interesting because I left really when I was 23. So I haven't really had a professional career or lived there for a long time. So it's going to be very interesting.
A new adventure.
Yes.
It's going to be new adventure for you.
You'll see me come running back 2 years screaming. No, I don't think so.
No, I think you will
I'll be
adapt very well there, going home. So, Anette, you were on the board, the ICF NYC board, for a long time. Was there anything, again, that you learned about yourself being part of the board and taking charge? And Anette was really involved with the volunteers and did a fabulous job, that again, more tools for your toolkit if you go home to look for a new job or work or whatever, that you're going to know that you've got.
Yeah, and it's been a great experience to be able to do this and to organize, CAD or a group of volunteers in different projects. But I also know, we know this as coaches, that if you follow your passion, everything is easier, right? And that is my passion. I love anything that's related to sort of more of a social work part of being able to help groups who wouldn't normally be able to afford coaching benefit from coaching also. And we just finished a pilot with NYCHA, New York City Housing Authority, where it was absolutely amazing. And the clients were saying things like, I didn't think that a person like me who lives in this kind of housing would be able to work with a coach like that. I mean, the comments they had to their coaches was beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. I love the idea that we even started the volunteer program, and that you really picked up the ball on it, and you could see the synergy that you had when we started out with the vets, even though that didn't go the way we wanted it to. And then, of course, NYCHA, you just took the ball and ran with it and really did a great job. And I'm sorry I didn't get involved with NYCHA as far as coaching, but I know that the two women, I'm sure, were thrilled with what you and the volunteers did.
Yeah, no, it was the clients were they were fabulous. And these it also that's part of, I think, the diversity in the culture. When you're out and you're around people, enough of different kinds of people, you just find the common humanity, no matter what it is. And that's what that's what I love about coaching also, and that's what I love about meeting people, is that deep down we're all the same. These were extremely highly selected, bright entrepreneurs that just happen to be poor and be we're born and living in circumstances that are not easy.
Right.
So the obstacles that these people had to go through to get anywhere, and then they were just grateful and gracious, and it was nice.
So will you find that diversity?
Yeah, well, I will. I think some of it. I think I'll look for it, but
so there's a different perspective.
There is a different perspective because diversity is so many different things. Whether it's poverty or it's race or it's gender.
Sure.
So I do want to be in that diversity world. Do I want to necessarily be in the poverty part? I don't. I don't know. But I have to do some kind of social work. But I got to get a real job first.
I understand, but you have such passion when you talk about this whole volunteering and helping people that are less fortunate, like we were going to do with the vets. That was such a great program, and now NYCHA and the Covenant House, we're really working with whatever level people are at that need help and would not normally get that type of coaching.
Right.
They wouldn't. It would never be in their framework of what could be available to them.
Well, you also, you helped make that possible for because I think you asked, the question was, being on the board, and I think in the beginning, you get onto the board and you don't really know what are you doing and what's your role and how do you fit in, and then organically I was there long enough to find a slot that would really really suited me.
Exactly. Yeah. And how can you take that passion and find it somewhere in Copenhagen, other than getting a full-time job?
I think that I do want to be, continue with ICF and be involved with them, and I do want to be able to mobilize, and whether that's just going to be during International Coach Week once a year or something more, but I do want to. I think also the ability, and I'd never tried this before, but the ability to be able to put together a list of 60 or 70 volunteers that you can call on to do something that actually show up when you want to do something.
Exactly.
I've never organized that many people, and that was beautiful. We did a one-day coaching thing at Career Gear, like with Lori Lawson, and it took me 2 hours to fill the 10 slots that we needed for people to come. Right, so I just sent out an email to the whole list, and in 2 hours it was full, and we had enough people for that program. And that's, I think, that was beautiful to be able to. It was
mobilize
very but it was also very simple. It's like you have so the whole process was working.
So when you go to Copenhagen, I know they have a Denmark chapter, which is in Copenhagen. Perhaps do we see you as president of that chapter one day?
I know it's going to be 15 years down the road or something.
My God.
I don't know. Not right now. I think I still have some business ventures, and I've seen you as a president. I've seen other presidents. I know the ambition I would put into it also, and the energy, and I'm not sure it's compatible with
where you are right now.
Where I am right now.
Just think, if you were to show up at a meeting, they would want you on that board in a heartbeat.
Probably.
Oh my God, Annette from New York.
Or they're going to push me away, like, who do you know?
No.
I'm threatening my husband I'm kidding with him a little, but I might to go into politics. So
in Copenhagen? What, are you going to be the mayor of Copenhagen?
That's a possibility. No, I'm not going to be the mayor of Copenhagen.
If there is one.
There is one.
Okay.
There is a mayor of Copenhagen. There's 1 million people living there, so there's a mayor. No, I am interested in policy. I am interested in being able to influence and be part of having whatever points of view I have on things heard. I just want to. Also I've had family. My kids have grown up, so this is in many ways a new chapter. And I want to do things. And I want to kind of calm, one little step at a time, because otherwise I'm going to be overloaded with my own.
Well, you'll do one step at a time, but just you say Copenhagen has 1 million people. New York City has what? 7 million or something
Right,
like that.
right.
Look at all of the riches that you are bringing to Copenhagen.
I know, it's going to, it's
you could be
fabulous.
president of the country.
No, yeah. We have a woman prime minister right now,
Okay.
so I wouldn't be the first. No, I just, we lived in a small town in France for a long time, and my father kept on saying, if you stay here long enough, you'll be the mayor. And there was like 1,500 people there, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll be the mayor of this little town. And then I ended up in New York instead. So
Well, you aren't going to be the mayor of New York.
no, and I won't be the mayor of Copenhagen either, because I don't think I have that talent for politics. But I just want to be part of a larger organization, a larger movement of something, where I can put my energy in. Retirement is another 30 years
Oh my
away.
God. But, I sit here and what we've been talking about, I think about the wonderful experiences your clients are going to have with you as a coach in moving and bringing, a lot of times clients will bring the topics of what you're going through, a new chapter, transition, moving, where do I go next? And here you've got all this experience to bring, to your clients in helping them navigate their lives.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying. It's interesting, and I'm trying to take it as it's almost like it's a new country, because I did, move from one country to another country to another country. So I've done that transition. But this is like, as you said before, you can't move home, and I'm really trying to be aware of this is kind of a new thing. I'm trying to be a little careful, and I'm watching things like. I was walking in this suburb of Copenhagen, and nobody crosses the street when there's a red light, even if there's no cars, right? So
Obedience.
No, of course. So it's like, this is like, so I'm standing there, and the light is red, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to just stand here? And I'm going to stand here, and I counted to 10, and I'm like, I can't just stand here. So I walked across.
You get a jaywalking ticket?
No, because there's nobody there. There's nobody. But I felt like I had to, so I have to, adapt, like kind of like this. Just a little example, it's just a little odd thing. But I will not be caught jaywalking, because I think it's like $200, and they really go after you. So,
well. We're almost coming to the end of our time, and it's just gone so quickly, and so delighted that I could see you and have you on the show before you head off to Copenhagen. So I'm going to miss you.
Well, I'm going to miss you
too, sweetie. Mwah. So any last words you'd like to say before we sign off? And I say thank you to the audience.
The world is not as big as it used to be. I think that's a fantastic thing. I feel privileged to be able to live in this world. So yes, we can stay in contact, and I can work with clients here. And I've told some of my clients that I'm moving, and they're like, oh, but then